Hey everybody, welcome to this briefing. Exciting topic to talk about and a very relevant one for lots of organizations, particularly large ones. We're talking meeting interop, and we're going to hopefully decode in this session. I've got the right person for it as well in Marius. Hopefully decode the different types of meeting interop we have in the Teams world. So we've got CVI, we've got direct guest join, and we've got cross-platform meetings via SIP, which is a bit of a mouthful. We'll decode that. And this is particularly pertinent because this is a new capability coming to Teams Rooms on Android, which will really complete the story of options for customers. First of all, Marius, could you just introduce yourself and give us a little bit of background?
Yes, happy to. So my name is Marius Nilsen. I look after all our interoperability products here in Pexip. And that means all the integrations we do into Teams meetings and from Teams rooms to other systems. So just making sure systems that normally do not speak the same language actually can connect.
Awesome. And before we get into like the specifics of the different options, you work with lots of different customers. We've had some of them on the podcast. Like, can you just give us a lay of the land as you see it in terms of the reality on the ground? Like, we've got customers with thousands of Teams rooms on podcast, yet they still need interop as well. And we've got customers like in legal who are dealing with lots of different platforms. What do you see?
Yes, we see a mix of things. Some of the biggest customers, they have some SIP devices, some Teams rooms, and as you do sort of acquisitions or you grow, maybe some of your auditoriums are still running on some older systems. So it's sort of a mix out there. I would say the general enterprise customer typically comes in with their existing estate, very often Cisco or Poly SIP-based rooms. They would typically then enable their Teams meetings for CVI. So all of those legacy rooms can join their Teams meetings and enjoy all the features there. And as they're moving over to native systems, so Microsoft Teams rooms, then typically the problem comes in the opposite direction of how do these rooms now join other meetings, either hosted by smaller groups or pockets inside of the organization or other companies, customers that they work with.
Nice. So you've teed the scenario up perfectly there. So let's do cloud video interop first, CVI. That's the one we've had the longest and is possibly the most known. So that's where I, as the tenant admin or the organizational owner, is buying a service that adds essentially SIP join coordinates to my meetings. So
Correct.
I'm covering my bases if a standard space room wants to join that meeting, either internally because I've got a mixed estate, or externally because I don't know whether that external person happens to be joining on Teams native or SIP.
Correct. So a very often analogy that makes it quite easy to understand is parking lots, right? You have an office building, and either you pay for your guests' parking lot, or they will have to just sort it out themselves. So with CVI enabled on your Teams meetings, when you send out an invite, all the details are there for them to join, of course, from Teams. That's already present. When you add CVI, you also provide the facilities for them to join, and they can dial sort of a video ID at your custom domain, and they can join your Teams meetings as sort of any normal meeting from their Cisco device, from their Poly device, Zoom room, etc. So you enable a lot more people to join your Teams meetings by enabling this in a similar fashion as you can also enable audio dial-in if that's an important use case.
Yeah, and that is depending on how they receive the meeting, they'll get click to join on their system, depending on how their system is set up. But they'll also get classic meeting coordinates, so they can type in access code and password, and like literally could type it in if we're going proper old school.
Yeah, for those that use it quite a lot, they're normally always setting up this up with calendar integration because it's so easy for the users to literally just press that join button. But sometimes you cannot necessarily get an external invite put on your internal room resource, depending on the rules you have set up in Exchange. So it's also possible to join manually for those that appreciate the process of keying in all the details.
Yeah, really enjoy that extra step. And you did something cleverer with that, where you could actually use the CVI service
Mhm.
to join other people's meetings that didn't have CVI. So that's kind of a twist on this. So talk us through that, because that's slightly different.
So it was sort of an extension of CVI, and we just baked it into the same product. It's called SIP Guest Join. So this is for your SIP devices. They will, with this option, be able to not only join your own Teams meetings, but they will also be able to join any external Teams meeting out there. So either by just entering the meeting ID and passcode manually, or as we talked about earlier, the easiest path would definitely be to just make sure the calendar invite is forwarded to your room, and you will get that green button. Of course, in this case, you don't get trusted lobby bypass and all of these features, because your SIP room is actually joining another organization's meeting. So you will join as a guest, they will let you in, and it will just work with audio, video, content sharing, PowerPoint Live, and all those normal things. So it's the same feature set as CVI, but you bring your Interop to join someone else's meeting that may not have procured CVI and enable that for their tenant.
Yeah, and that closes a gap for some people, because they have a big rooms estate still that's standards based. They're not always hosting the meeting. They can't exactly say to their customer, "Do you need to pick up this extra license for us to join your meeting?" or even know what is going to happen. So if it's important from a user experience point of view in your organization, you can cover your bases and say, even if we get a standards based invite from ABC Corp, we can find a way to join, a Teams invite from our ABC Corp, we can join from our standards-based room, because we've got it, like you said, all set up nicely in the boardroom.
Yeah, I think the important part for end users is they shouldn't really have to worry about any of this. If the admins have set up the right flow, like how do you join external meetings, it doesn't really matter what the underlying technology is. If it's Pexip or direct guest join, or one way or another, you need to get the meeting coordinates to your meeting rooms. So once the sort of IT team has set up that flow in a proper way, the user should really just walk into the room, click join. If they've forwarded or copy pasted the meeting details or have to enter it manually, that's sort of something you need to figure out regardless, right? But for the end user, there should be as little thinking required as possible. They should literally just be able to dial in and go on with their day.
Nice. So that's cloud video interop. We'll park that for a second. Now we've got, as you said, we've got our Teams rooms in our estate. We love them. They're great. Then we need, from a Teams-based room, to join another service. So we've got two options here. We've got one in the box option, which we'll talk about first, which is direct guest join. So that is Microsoft run this service. It's in Teams Room Basic. It's obviously in Teams Room Pro as well. And that's where they are essentially web joining to Webex, Zoom, and now Google Meet, kind of natively in the box, basically essentially popping a browser and cross joining just to those three other UCAS systems.
Yep. And I think that's a great option for those that needs it every now and then, right? If you never really join meetings that are not Teams, but maybe once a month a Google meeting appears or a Zoom meeting appears, and you don't really have a key role in that meeting, like a presenter or something, then this might be good enough. So it's great that there is a default built in, because that means everyone has some level of interop.
Yeah, and that's kind of been a joint agreement between Cisco and Zoom and Microsoft that have been working together to make the kind of fundamentals work. So it's 720p, it's no lobby, there's no HDMI send, I don't believe.
Correct.
But as you say, it's in the box, it works. If you get that invite in the room, it's going to be a click to join. I think with Zoom and Webex, we have code join now based as well. So if you can, again, type in the codes if you like doing that, but 9 times out of 10, you'd be forwarding the invite to the room and click to join. Nice. And then we've got the kind of the more thorough experience, I think, which is I've got to get the marketing name right because I keep putting this wrong thing. It's cross-platforms meetings via SIP. That's the Microsoft name for this feature.
Correct.
And that's where we're leveraging, again, an interop provider like Pexip now to join from the Teams rooms to other types of meetings, including standards-based SIP.
Yep. So that's really taking it in the other direction. And I would say this is a high quality alternative to direct guest join, especially for those that have more than the occasional meeting. If you frequently join Zoom, Webex, or Google meetings from your Teams rooms, and especially if you have users that have scenarios where maybe you need to connect the HDMI cable and share content, or maybe you have dual screen systems. You would really like to use both of those screens and sort of get a little bit more value out of your Teams rooms. And that's what this option provides.
Nice. And up until recently, that has been released on Microsoft Teams Rooms on Windows. And the big news now is that is imminent for Teams Rooms on Android. So for the user, it won't matter what Teams Room they're on. They'll have that single experience, which we're obviously all aiming for. Is I wouldn't have to know as a user. I just come in, hit the button, and get my experience.
Yep, that's correct. So we have quite a lot of customers using this for Teams Rooms on Windows already. But a lot of customers have mixed estates. They may have some SIP rooms, MTR Windows, and MTR Android, and they would typically like to have the same feature sets across all their Teams rooms before they start moving forward. So this is huge for them, and of course for all the customers that have a pure MTR Android estate.
Nice. And it's called cross-platform via SIP, which sounds like it would go to obviously SIP endpoints, which it does, but it goes to other UCaaS platforms that also have a SIP connectivity. So we can, in the same way as we've got Cisco WebEx, Zoom, and Google Meet on direct guest join, we can also do them via this service, but slightly more capabilities, as I understand it.
Yeah, that's correct. So for Zoom and WebEx, they do have a SIP interface where they sort of support quite a rich feature set already. So that's what we're taking advantage of there. With Google, Pexip has native interoperability into Google, since we're also Interop provider there. So then we talk MTR language to the Teams room, and we talk Google Meet language to the Google meeting. So that's sort of the underlying. I would say the biggest sort of differentiators on the capabilities is, of course, first on resolution. The cross-platform meeting joined via SIP will, for the Teams room, look just like any point-to-point call. Like, so if you call just between two Teams rooms or from a Teams room to Teams user, there is support for 1080p. There is support for 2 screens. So if you dial from your Teams room into a Zoom meeting or to a Google meeting, we could even provide people on both screens while there is no content sharing. And when content is being shared, that will of course be on one screen, and you will have all the people on the other screen. So those are the sort of 2 main sort of quality features. Maybe the one that most people ask about, and the reason that many move to this product, is also the ability to share content through the HDMI cable on the Teams room. That is huge and is sort of an important feature.
Nice. And if it was needed, you can do a straight SIP URI from the Teams room through to whatever SIP endpoint is on the other end as well.
Yeah, so especially we see quite a lot now in Europe. A lot of government organizations do have some of their meetings have to run on the platform that they control or are in country, and of course that means to dial into this meeting that is not necessarily a UCaaS provider, right? It might be something that is hosted by this country or organization specifically. But with exactly the same feature, you can enter any SIP address and dial into that meeting. And if you need to enter PIN codes, etc., that is also supported on the Teams room.
Nice. So I want to get into the kind of some of the understanding of how I would buy this. But first off, kind of technical architecture wise, is this like cloud service? How do I deploy it? And is it different between cloud video interop and the SIP join via the rooms, the cross-platform meetings?
Great question. So first of all, we were actually planning on this feature from all the way back when we launched Cloud Video Interop. So most customers consume this as a cloud service, but for the more sensitive customers that really want to have control of as much as possible and have sort of Microsoft as the only cloud provider and not have other smaller cloud providers in the mix, it is also possible to host it yourselves. So we have some more sensitive customers that I will not go into names, but they choose to host it themselves. But I would say the majority of both government and larger enterprises typically choose to consume this as a cloud service. And the way it's set up is you get a link to do the admin consent, and then you run a couple of PowerShell commands, and you're up and running. And the admin consent is actually the same one. So for those that have already used our CVI product, they already have the consent in place. So they literally just need to run a couple of PowerShell commands to enable this on their Teams rooms.
Nice. And what does it look like commercially buying it from Pexip? So I've got CVI where it's adding to all the user meetings, and I've got the cross-platform meeting SIP, which obviously is room-based. Like as much detail as you can provide. How does that work kind of licensing and commercially?
Yeah, so typically we license based on the number of devices you own, because it's normally tough for a customer to know how many meetings are they running at any one time, or even how many devices will I have that's SIP versus MTR in a year from now. So we have a lot of flexible license plans there. I would recommend for anyone looking for this, just reach out to Pexip, and the commercial team is ready to answer this. Of course, if you have sort of thousands of rooms, you would typically have some enterprise-wide agreement to sort of cover all the scenarios that you have, because the bigger the enterprise, the more corner cases and various different scenarios you will find in the same organization. But
yeah, it definitely gets bigger and more complicated. I guess I could choose to just have CVI, or I could choose to just have cross-platform meetings, but it probably makes maybe technical and commercial to cover all the bases and have both solutions.
Yeah. So normally sort of customers focus on what they need for their own rooms, and that's normally what we provide. But if you have a few SIP rooms, then you would typically just turn on CVI in addition on your invites. If you're fully MTR shop and you don't really care about anyone joining your meetings, maybe you choose to not enable that feature. But then the normal one is sort of how many devices do you have and what type of devices are they, and then they will get enabled to join any meeting.
Nice. And if I've got a smaller estate, or I just want to check this out and I don't want to have a big enterprise agreement conversation, like is there a way I can just get a couple of seats to start, or trial, or demo? How can I test it out?
Yeah, so it is an estate-wide license. So in the same way as when you go Teams Room Pro, right? You don't go Teams Room Pro for 50 devices and then leave 25 on the basic plan. And to be honest, we as Pexip do not necessarily have the insights into your tenant on exactly number of systems. So that would be very time consuming to turn on and off and audit this. That's not really practical.
Yeah.
But we do offer trials for customers. So again, reach out to the account team. It's fairly quick to set that up. The main thing you need is access to a global admin that can do the consent, and then someone with Teams admin privileges to run the PowerShell commands to get it up and running.
Awesome. So yeah, so I could check it out, test out my scenarios myself, check I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, Marius, thanks for decoding all of those for us. And yeah, I'm really excited to see this coming to Android, because it really completes our story for, we've got a mixed Teams root state of Windows and Android, and we want that, as you said, that kind of guaranteed user experience of whatever the scenario, I can click to join and get through to that meeting.
Yeah, and I think one thing I wanted to mention, just sort of in the end, is we talked about features, right, with higher quality dual screen content sharing, but customers that have started to use it, one of the key feedbacks we get is that's all great, but the most important one we didn't think about when we got the product was actually the reduced amount of support and trouble when getting into meetings. This is a little bit harder to quantify. How much does it cost you that the project manager cannot necessarily present the project for a customer, but the customer satisfaction and end user support costs was sort of the biggest feedback for many customers, which is sort of an interesting learning for me at least.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes sense to me just anecdotally. Like I get caught out at least once or twice a month where I join with like a second to go. I'm like, oh, it's a Webex meeting, it's a Zoom meeting, right? Oh no, what? Like, so the exact same thing happening in a room is obviously 10 times worse. So
And
from
then
an
you
IT
don't have a quick
support,
way of solving it, right? So then you do rely on the IT team to already have planned for a solution that you can use, and the user can just go join meeting, Webex number, and off you
yeah,
go.
yeah, awesome. Well, Marius, thanks for giving us that time, and I'll be working on. I'm on the tap for the Android stuff, so I'll release some more details about that when we're allowed to. But really excited to see this coming to Android, and thanks for decoding that all for us.
Thank you for having me.